Cancer, welcome to your astrology reading for the month of February. And so the way that I've structured this is to really kind of talk about the energy as it flows through the month, because there are so many different transits, there's so many different things that happen on a regular basis. And it really does tell a story when you look at it from a month standpoint. So kind of right off the bat, we do have a lot of Aquarius energy. And so to really understand how this energy is going to impact you, probably should listen to your sun, your moon, and your rising sign. So your sun sign is the one that you're familiar with. It's when you're born. It's where the sun was in the sky. That is the outward expression. So that's how you express yourself and what it is that you want. What is it that you are trying to do? The rising sign or the ascendant is probably going to be the most accurate, because that is actually what's used to create these forecasts using whole signs. The rising sign, though, is how other people see you. And so that's, if you think about those two pieces, it's how you see yourself, how you express yourself, and how other people receive that. And so then the third part is the moon energy. And so that is your emotions. It's how you emotionally process everything that's happening around you. And so with that, Aquarius. So Aquarius is actually impacting your 8th house. 8th house is all about transformation. It is the house of death and rebirth. It's this... to say transformation is probably an understatement. There is a lot of topics that happen here. And so power and control issues, intimacy issues, other people's money. So that would be the money that you would get from an employer. It could also be an inheritance, something along those lines. But there is a lot of, and transformation is probably the best way to sum it up. But that is really what's going to be happening to you most of February. And with Pluto in Aquarius, probably over the next 20 years. So just putting it out there that you are going to be growing a lot during this time period. And a lot of it's going to be highlighted, and you're already starting to see it, because Pluto actually moved into Aquarius at the end of January. So on January 20th, Pluto and the sun both moved into Aquarius. And so you're already getting some of that. And then what happens there is on February 5th at 12:10 in the morning, Eastern time. So if you're Pacific time, it's the night before. But now we have Mercury into the mix. And so we'll have Mercury, Pluto, and the sun all in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is all about breaking down existing structures. It is liberation. It is freedom. It is acting in the greater good. So whatever it's trying to do here, whatever structures it's going to liberate you from, because that's really what that Pluto in Aquarius is all about. It is meant to put you on a better path. It is to help you grow and not stay stuck in whatever limitations and restrictions previously held you in place. And so really keep that in mind as you go through the month of February and really over the next 2 decades. I know that's not a short period of time, but it is going to be an energy that kind of ebbs and flows. And so with that, right away, Mercury is conjunct Pluto. As soon as it enters in, they're both at 0 degrees. And so this is where you are really starting to understand why some of these structures are coming down. Mercury is, it's information, it's processing information, it's communication of information. And so there's a lot of kind of an understanding of what is taking place here and why it's necessary. And so this could be in the area, again, of maybe power and control issues, intimacy issues here, anything related to money. So this would not be money that you already had. This would be other people's money. So like even debt would be included in this. And so there's some sort of change that's taking place, some sort of transformation occurring in these areas of your life. And you're starting to understand why things are happening the way that they are. We'll also have Mercury conjunct Mars. And so the interesting thing about this is conjunctions, they're in really close proximity to each other. Mars is still in Capricorn, and so it has not yet moved into Aquarius. It will later in the month. So what's happening here is you have Mars in Capricorn, so that's sitting in your 7th house of personal relationships. So those one-to-one relationships, could be a marriage if you're married, but it's really those one-to-one long-term relationships. And then you have Mercury here that's sitting in your 8th house, in this liberating, break-free type of energy. Let's think outside the box and do things differently. So whatever structures you might have had in place when it comes to how you see yourself in one-to-one relationships, or maybe just the boundaries that existed, with Aquarius here, with Mercury now in Aquarius, all of this is being shaken up. Everything that you've done, everything that you've known about your role in these relationships is about to change. And so this could be innovative ideas coming to the surface about how do we make this a better connection between the two of us? Or how do we break down some of these obstacles and barriers that exist because we saw them as kind of a structure that needed to exist, and it doesn't need to exist at all. And so there's a lot of focusing here on long-term growth within your one-to-one relationships and what should that look like, because the old paradigm doesn't work anymore. At the same time, we'll also have Mercury square Jupiter in Taurus. And so for you, Jupiter in Taurus is sitting in your 11th house of community. So when it comes to transformation, so not only are you looking to transform your one-to-one relationships and really thinking about like partnerships specifically, so romantic partnerships, business partnerships, you're also now getting community into the mix. And so that's what the 11th house represents. And so your standing in the community is also being impacted by this transformation that's taking place. So let's just say that you're somebody that in your one-to-one relationships, you tend to compromise a lot. And that has led to a lot of manipulation or feeling like maybe you weren't good enough, or just who you are wasn't good enough for the situation or for the relationship, and somebody made you feel that way. But it was a lot of you compromising more than you should have. It was kind of losing yourself in the relationship. And so what's happening is you're transforming. And so that would be a barrier that you would break down. You would not allow that to happen anymore. You wouldn't allow yourself to be manipulated or controlled in that type of way. That would be the power and control issues. And so now that transformation that's taking place in your one-to-one, it's also taking place in your community, because what you're doing is you're redefining who you are and how you are in these relationships with other people. And so that is going to have an impact on your community. But what's really positive about this is it's Jupiter. Jupiter is the most benefic planet out there. And so whatever it touches turns to gold, essentially. And so Jupiter in Taurus, even though the aspect itself is one that would normally create an obstacle or challenge, this is not going to be that case at all. This is actually going to happen pretty easily for you, because Jupiter just brings success wherever it goes. And so this could even be improving your standing within the community, meaning that like you're growing within your community, you're gaining more prominence within your community. And it would be the same way within your one-to-one relationships. I mean, there's this interaction between the two. We also have Mercury sextile Neptune in Pisces. So Neptune in Pisces is all about your dreams. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. And so it's about, okay, let's think like, how big of a dream can we make and how much can we go after in this respect? And so this dream is sitting in your 9th house. 9th house is it's growth, it's expansion, it is long distance travel, higher education. It's also philosophy. And so philosophy, not in like an academic sense. Philosophy in this, these are my personal beliefs. This is how I view the world. This is how I see things. And so what this is doing is 8th house, 9th house connection here. This is one that requires some action, but the goals that you want as far as how you want to be, the type of person you want to be, does relate back to this transformation. So all this transformation that's taking place is giving you an opportunity to reevaluate your core value system. Maybe it's not even just your core value system. Maybe it is then education on top of that. Like, what kind of education do you want? Do you want to go in a different path? Like, what is it that you want to do here? Because there is definitely a connection between this transformation that you're going through and what kind of growth opportunities exist for you. And then on the 9th, we have the new moon in Aquarius. And so the new moon in Aquarius is going to happen at 5:59 Eastern time. And so same day if you're in the Pacific time zone. But what this means is now we're going to have the sun, moon, Mercury, and Pluto all in the sign of Aquarius. So really in the sign of the rebel. And so what's going to happen here is it's a new moon. So the moon and the sun are at the same degree point in the sky. They're literally next to each other. And so this is all sitting in your 8th house. The moon is your emotions. The sun is how you express yourself. And so this is going to be an easy expression of your emotions. This energy is really intertwined. And so when it comes to this transformation and the impact it has on you emotionally, this is your opportunity to, and you'll feel it. This is going to be your opportunity to really express yourself and express everything that you're going through, how it's impacting you, what is it that you want here, because there is so much happening. This could even be that liberation from the power and control issues. And so just kind of think of it that way. We'll also have the sun and the moon in a square with Uranus. And so Uranus is sitting in Taurus, so going back to your community. And so now we have this connection again with your transformation and your community. So expressing how this transformation is impacting you, now you're adding the community into the mix. And so there might be some, because this is a challenging aspect, this is a square. And so Uranus and Taurus, Uranus is sudden change, and it's sitting in this house of community. And so there might be changes that are needed within your community based on the changes that you're doing internally. These changes that are happening to you, happening with you, for you, all of the above. There might be some impact to your community. This might be a time where you lose some friends, and it's not in a negative way. It's just that they don't fit in with who you're trying to be and the direction that you're moving in. It's not that they're bad people, it's just that they don't fit anymore. And the reverse could be true. All of a sudden you could have more people, you could have increase your tribe in that way. And it's because you are transforming, you are seeing things differently, you're moving in a different direction. And so really all of this is highlighted here. Including just the way that you interact with these people. So if you've always kept people at arm's length, this might give you the opportunity to really open yourself up and be vulnerable to other people and create that kind of depth within your relationships. And any kind of blocks or obstacles that make you feel like you're just, I was gonna say ungrounded, but like really unstable. And so that Jupiter energy does want you to grow, but the Taurus energy wants you to be stable about it. We'll also have the sun and the moon trine the south node in Libra. And so what's happening here is, again, we've got the transformation. So the sun and moon are sitting in this house of transformation. And then we have the south node sitting in Libra. The south node is an eclipse. We're in the Aries Libra eclipse season. And so this is Libra. And Libra is your fourth house of home. And so this transformation that's taking place, you can see right away that there is an impact to your home life. There is something that feels really balanced within your home life. That's what you're trying to achieve here. And so all of this transformation is going to settle you in that way as well. So if you had maybe felt very unsettled in your home life or things like that, this is going to kind of help ease you into that, because this is a trine. So this is going to be an easy energy. This is going to flow naturally. This is meant to create balance in your home life. And so really all of this, again, like internal transformation, really internal, external, because there is an outside component to this, is impacting you in your home life, but for the better, So the last thing that we have during this whole transit is the sun and moon sextile Chiron in Aries. And so Chiron in Aries, Chiron is the wounded healer. Aries is sitting in your 10th house of career. So what's happening now is not only is this transformation going to impact you in your home life, this is going to impact you in your career. The difference here is in your home life, it's going to happen organically. This is something that's going to happen very easily for you. You won't have to put any effort into it. When it comes to your career, you will. And so if this is something where the transformation is putting you on a different path, it has you thinking and seeing things differently, you're going to have to do something within your career or your public reputation in order to change the perception, in order to change that trajectory. This does require action on your part. It is also about healing conversations too. So if you think of it this way, like trying to think of an example where you might be, maybe if you feel like you've been held back at work. That's probably a good example. You feel like you've been held back, you haven't been able to get these promotions, and a lot of it was just your belief system, and maybe you felt like you weren't good enough, and now is going to be an opportunity for you to heal that piece of you. That's the transformation piece, so that you realize you are good enough, and that is going to give you the confidence you need in order to pursue that promotion or changing career. And so that's just an example of how this energy will work together. Then we'll have Mars enter Aquarius on the 13th at 1:05 in the morning. And so that's Eastern time. Pacific would be the night before. And so we'll have Mars, Sun, and Pluto all in Aquarius. The moon, again, moves on pretty quickly. And so what's happening right away is that Mars is conjunct Venus, but Venus is still in Capricorn. And so we saw some of this energy, and you will see this energy a little bit more, but there's a connection between this 8th house where Mars is sitting. So Mars is sitting in this transformation. So this is actions related to the transformation that you're undergoing. And then we have Venus in Capricorn. And so that is occupying your 7th house of those one-to-one relationships. And so all of the actions you're taking to transform yourself, Venus in Capricorn, this is about the things that you value and the type of long-term maybe relationships that you're looking for, because Capricorn is long-term. That 7th house is one-to-one relationships. So really thinking through those long-term relationships that you want. What actions do you need to take in order to get those types of relationships that you want? And it could be, I mean, again, marriage is usually highlighted here with the 7th house, but it could be also business partnerships as well. So don't take it as just romantic relationships, even though Venus does rule romantic relationships, and that is actually sitting in your 7th house. So just kind of keep that in mind. Mars will square Jupiter in Taurus. And so again, we're looking at your transformation as it relates to your community. And so the actions that you're taking as they relate to this transformation that you're undergoing. And these are self-initiated actions. Mars is about you acting. And so Jupiter in your 11th house, this is, again, very positive. All the actions that you're taking are meant to improve your standing within the community, your relationships with those around you in the community. So all very, very positive from that perspective. And it's also very liberating too, because this Mars in Aquarius, all the actions that you're taking, you're really breaking down all of those barriers, all of those limitations that you may not have realized existed. So I'm just going to say Pluto, when Pluto was in Capricorn, it was building up all of these structures. And so that happened for 15, 16 years. It started in 2008. And now you're sitting in this energy of, well, wait, I created all these structures. I don't need them. They don't work for me anymore. Or maybe they never really did and you didn't realize it until now. And so now's the opportunity to really take the action needed in order to break down those restrictions or limitations, including the ones that are internal to you, which is your 8th house. And kind of along the same lines, so we have Mars sextile Neptune and Pisces. So Neptune and Pisces, this is about your dreams. This is about what you want to achieve here. And so that is in your 9th house. So that is expansion. Again, what kind of growth opportunities exist for you? Is it modifying your internal philosophy, your value system? Is it higher education? Is it long distance travel? Because the transformation that's taking place is going to open up opportunities for you moving forward. It does require you to take some action though. These dreams and like your goals connected to those 9th house energies, they're not just going to automatically happen. This is going to require action on your part. And so that really kind of takes into Mars entering Aquarius. And then a few days later, we have Venus entering Aquarius. And so we'll have Pluto, Mars, the Sun, Venus, and Mercury all in the sign of Aquarius. That is a lot of liberating energy. And so when you think about all of those planets, Pluto's transformation, it's sitting in, and Aquarius occupies your house of transformation. That's not a mistake. So Pluto is kind of the natural ruler of the 8th house. And so that's why you're experiencing this on such an intense level. Mars, action, Sun, self-expression, Venus, what you value, and then Mercury is communication. So right away, all this energy sitting in Aquarius will have Venus in a semi-sextile to the Sun. And so what does that mean? It just means there's a little bit of friction between what you value, what you want, and how you express yourself. And this is not a major transit at all. This is something that is very minor. A semi-sextile, you may not even recognize it for what it is. It might be just one of those fleeting friction moments that just kind of comes and goes. We'll also have Venus trine the moon in Taurus. And so again, we've got Venus sitting in your 8th house. So this transformation is incorporating all of the things that you value, all of the things that you want. Again, could be relationships, because Venus does rule relationships. And we also have Taurus. So Taurus is sitting in your 11th house of community. So now we're talking about your relationships, transforming your relationships as they relate to your community. So you're going to see some very similar energy as we go through the month, where you're going to be given opportunities and you're going to see it come to fruition, where you can improve your standing within the community, improve the relationships you have with other people. This is a very liberating type of energy, and so it's going to feel very refreshing when it happens. We're also going to have Venus conjunct Mars. And so now they're actually going to be in the same sign, in the same house, so 8th house. And so the actions that you take are going to align with your values. And so what is it that you want? What is it you're trying to achieve here? Because those actions, they're going to be in complete alignment. They're in a conjunction with each other. And what's really interesting about this is that because Mars is action oriented, it won't stay in one place for long. So it's really great at separating things. Venus is really great at bringing things together. And so it's about finding this kind of happy balance to take this, okay, I want to come together. I want a specific type of relationship, or I want to improve my relationships. And now what action do I need to take to get there? And so it's the action to bring things together. We'll also have Venus conjunct Pluto. So again, sitting in your house of transformation. And so Pluto, again, it is all about transformation. This is all about Aquarius energy. This is all about liberating you from any kind of barriers, any restrictions, any structures that have been in place that have really held you back. And so kind of lean into the energy here, because this is going to happen. It's going to happen pretty quickly. And it may not be the most comfortable with this Pluto and Aquarius energy, but it is something that you ultimately want, and you're going to feel better on the other side of it. Venus will be in a square to Jupiter and Taurus. And so again, we've got your 8th house and we've got your 11th house. So we've got your transformation, we've got your community, all of the actions, everything that you're doing. You're going to see this is kind of like the theme of the month, where you're transforming yourself. And what you're doing is you're improving and creating healthy boundaries within your one-to-one relationships, within your community. You're improving your standing. You're being given opportunities to better your career, improve your public reputation. So it's a lot of that type of energy happening for you in the month of February. And all of this is giving you an opportunity to really align with those goals, those dreams that you've set for yourself, because we also have Venus sextile Neptune and Pisces. And so that Neptune and Pisces, again, going back to your 9th house, where it's higher education, long distance travel, it's your internal philosophy, it's just the things that you value and like what it is that you're trying to achieve, because Neptune and Pisces is your dreams, it is your goals as it relates to those topics. And so you're being given an opportunity here to really action what it is that you want. Now we start to incorporate some of the Pisces energy. And so the sun will enter Pisces on the 18th at 11:13 p.m. Eastern time. And so now we'll have the sun, Saturn, and Neptune all in Pisces. They're all sitting in your 9th house. And so that higher education, that growth opportunity, your philosophy, your long distance travel, all of the 9th house themes are going to be influenced here. And so right away, we'll have the sun trine the moon in Cancer. And so this is your 9th house. So again, think about I'm going to highlight more philosophy here, maybe religion, just your internal belief system, because the moon in Cancer is going to impact your 1st house. So the moon in Cancer first, the moon's at home in Cancer, that is your ruling planet. And so sitting in your 1st house, that is your house of self, and that is your physical body. It's who you are. And so all of these changes that have been culminating over the month, everything that you're learning about yourself, all of these structures that are being broken down, you're now getting an opportunity to really express what kind of growth you want. How do you see yourself moving forward? What kind of changes do you want to make to yourself here? Because that 1st house is yourself. And with this trine energy, it is about just kind of merging the two together. It's a very easygoing energy, because it's not really a conjunction, it's a trine. So it's something that's going to happen pretty easily, where you're going to be able to identify what needs to change within you. And again, the energy, because it's the moon, it's going to be encouraging, supporting, and it's about going after whatever it is that you want for yourself. We'll also have the sun conjunct Mercury in Aquarius. And so now we've got 2 different signs happening, because the sun's in Pisces. And so we've got your 9th house, and now we've got Mercury in Aquarius, your 8th house. And so when it comes to your dreams and expressing your dreams, because that's the sun in Pisces, what Mercury in Aquarius, what ideas are coming to the surface? What changes do you want to make? What innovation do you want to employ in order to go after exactly what you want? We'll also have the sun conjunct Saturn. So again, sitting in your 9th house, Saturn is actually all about structure. It is the ruler of Capricorn. And so this is about what kind of plan do you have in place? And this would be a long-term plan. Saturn is a very slow-moving planet, and it just takes a long time. I was going to go into the whole Chronos thing, but no, I'm going to skip that. So sun conjunct Saturn. In this conjunction, they're in a very close proximity to each other. And so you're expressing exactly what kind of structure you're looking for. What kind of long-term plan are you looking for that relates to your dreams and your aspirations? And so you have done a lot of work throughout February, getting rid of all those structures that don't work for you now. And what it was doing was opening you up to new possibilities, creating additional ways for you to move forward. And so now it's about, okay, well, those didn't work for me. Like plan A didn't work for me. Let's come up with plan B, and let's make that Make that the new plan A. Make that the one that works. And so that's what that Sun conjunct Saturn is. It's about working on yourself and working on that long-term plan. We will have the Sun in a semi-sextile to Pluto in Aquarius. And so there might be a little bit of friction here when it comes to this structure you're trying to create, because Pluto in Aquarius doesn't want you to create a structure. It kind of wants you to just go with the flow, if you think of it that way. So there might be a little bit of friction there. Not really, though. It just makes sure that whatever it is that you're trying to go after, that the goal and the means to get there kind of are in alignment, and you can kind of easily overcome this semi-sextile. Then on the 23rd, we have Mercury entering Pisces. So that's going to happen at 2:39 in the morning. Again, this is all going to be in your 9th house. So we'll have Mercury, the Sun, Saturn, and Neptune in Pisces. The moon is gone, has been out of all of this energy for a little while. And so we're really focusing here on what is happening with Mercury. So Mercury is going to be conjunct the Sun. This is going to be expressing your dreams, expressing everything that you want. What is it that you need in order to feel fulfilled in this lifetime? Because those are the dreams that you're trying to go after. We will have Mercury opposite the moon in Leo. And so this is going to be kind of a 9th house, 2nd house kind of thing. So 9th house, again, we're talking about your philosophy, higher education, religion, maybe long distance travel, all of those things. And then the moon in Leo is sitting in your 2nd house. And your 2nd house is your personal finances. But the moon in Leo is about creative expression. And so what are you doing with your finances as they relate to the growth opportunities here? Is there some sort of, because it almost feels like there's like a barrier between the two, like they're at odds with each other with this opposition, where you're maybe looking to go back to school, but maybe you don't have the money to go back to school. That would be an instance of this Mercury opposite moon in Leo. And so really trying to understand, how does that relate to your long-term plan? What kind of goals you've set in place for yourself? And then how would you go about getting there? We'll have Mercury conjunct Saturn. So again, they'll both be sitting in the 9th house. And so when it comes to Saturn, it is about that structure that you're creating, that long-term strategy that you're creating. Mercury is communication. It's also processing information. So it's about really understanding the path that you're creating for yourself, and does that make sense to you? Is there any modification you want to make to this path? Because you are going to be given an opportunity here with Mercury semi-sextile Pluto in Aquarius to make some adjustments to that. And so a little bit of friction here with this energy, but not a lot of friction. So the transformation you're making, so that 8th house transformation, does it align with the goals that you have in that 9th house? So when it comes to your expansion, growing yourself as a person, do they align? Because that's really what this is looking for. It's looking for an alignment between the two, and where there isn't alignment, you are going to encounter some friction. And then at the end of the month, we'll have the full moon in Virgo. So that's going to happen on the 24th at 7:30 in the morning. And so for you, the moon is actually sitting in your 3rd house. And then we have the Sun in Pisces, because they're opposites. So that's sitting in your 9th house. So 3rd house, 9th house. 3rd house is about communication. It's also short distance travel. So 3rd house, short distance travel, 9th house, long distance travel. But it really comes down to Virgo sitting in your 3rd house. So Virgo is a perfectionist. This is a lot of communication, maybe overthinking something. Very easily could be the case. Pisces, kind of that dream, 9th house, let's grow, let's expand, let's go after all the things. And then 3rd house, there's this kind of push-pull energy happening between the two. And so what is it that you want? Is there something related to travel? Is there something that you want to maybe expand and grow more? Because that 9th house is about expansion. And that 3rd house with that Virgo energy, there might be some overthinking happening here. Virgo is an earth sign, so it wants you to stay grounded and practical, and it wants you to be organized about everything that you're doing. But then the 9th house is that expansion. It is kind of growing who you are as a person through long distance travel, through higher education. And so what is it that you're trying to achieve here? Because there is some, if I could speak, there is something here that you need to let go of. We will have the moon opposite Mercury in Pisces. So this is going to be, again, your 3rd house, and now as it relates to your 9th house. And so not only are you at odds between the goals that you've set for yourself and maybe the way that you're going about those goals, that 3rd house, maybe overthinking it, communication. Maybe this is micromanaging some of the communication that you're having as it relates to your goals. Mercury in Pisces is now a different type of communication. So you might be trying to figure out, how do you modify your third house communication in order to align with the goals you set for yourself? How are you trying to process things differently, see things through a different light in order to be able to go after exactly what you want here? Anything that doesn't emotionally align with what you're trying to do for yourself would be something that you would release during this full moon. Where you're actually going to be benefited now is, again, we've got the moon trine Jupiter and Taurus. And so when it comes to your community and it comes to just how you see yourself within the community, the type of communication you have with the community, this is all going to be very easy flowing energy. It's going to feel very natural. You're going to feel really good about the direction that piece is going in. And we'll end with the moon opposite Saturn in Pisces. And so again, we're coming back to this third house, ninth house. And so Saturn in Pisces is about, okay, what kind of structures are you putting in place as they relate to your long-term plans? And so there's been a lot of evaluating, reevaluating, coming up with a new plan. Does that make sense when it comes to these goals that you've set for yourself? And so now with the third house, ninth house, it's about, okay, well, how do I communicate that? How do I make that known to other people? How do I mean, is short distance travel involved? What does that look like here? And so that is the energy for February for you, Cancer. So I hope this resonates. If it did, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Take care.